Good afternoon, B.Ed students. This is my presentation about the topic Introduction to Teaching Science. And if you've gone this far, I'm expecting that you're already done with activities 1.1 and 1.2. Now, your learnings in those activities will greatly help you to understand the topics and the concepts that we are going to study in this topic. Most specifically, we are going to compare your answers in activity 1.2, which is your own expectations or descriptions of an effective science teacher. We will compare that to what experts say about the effectiveness of a teacher in science. Okay, so to start with, we have this statement coming from an expert educator in science, no other than Mr. Colburn. According to him, people in general don't like science. That poses already a problem, right? It's very difficult to educate people, especially pupils, if they don't like what they are learning. So the challenge lies with the teachers, that teachers must have to be innovative, must have to be enthusiastic in teaching science so that the students will learn and will like science. So as the saying goes, there's no boring subject, there's only boring teacher. So to avoid that, you have to really be equipped with the pedagogies, with the knowledge in teaching science. But the next clause, I believe this is more of a challenge. I mean, this is more challenging than the first clause, because it says here, elementary school teachers are no different from the rest of the general public. That means that there are elementary teachers who do not also like science. Now you have to reflect to yourself, do you like science? You will soon become science teachers. Now, you have to really start, if you don't like science, if you don't love science, at this moment, you really have to start loving science, because you cannot go away with science. You'll be teaching that someday. So you start to learn it, you have to start to love it, okay? So that your students will not be boring, will not hate science, right? When I was in elementary, just to share my experience, well, I do like science when I was in elementary. My teachers are good also in teaching science. But when I came to high school, wherein there's already an integration of mathematical equations, that enthusiasm fade away. So I think it's something like, it's personal to me. I mean, it's a case-to-case basis, right? Because I'm not really good in math. Okay, so the quality of science education in schools is greatly influenced by the quality of science teachers. Definitely. How can the aims of science curriculum be achieved if the teachers are not qualified enough, if the teachers are not effective enough in delivering the lessons, if the teachers are incapable of teaching science effectively, then the quality of science education in our country will definitely not progress. Later on, we'll have an activity to that. I'll be showing you a figure about the state of science education in the Philippines right before my presentations. Okay, so science teachers must have the chance to conduct research in regard or with regard to science teaching and learning. Big word, research. Now, how many among you love research? Okay, because some of us, feel scared when we hear the word research, because it entails us that, there will be a lot of readings and so on and so forth. But if you choose to become a teacher, you also have to love research, because that's how you can help in the development of education in the Philippines, and that's how you also improve yourself professionally, and of course personally. In order to so if you conduct researches, then the results might be used for the development of teaching, for the development of programs in science education, and etc., etc. Right? So you have to be good researchers. Next, students' interest in science is directly linked to the quality of teaching, as well as learning interactions provided by their science teachers. We'll go back to the old saying that there's no boring subject, there's only boring teacher. Well, experience wise, I have my favorite subjects before, but when the teachers who handle those subjects are not really, enthusiastic enough in teaching, it actually affected my views and my motivation in learning the subject. So it affects, right? No matter how good the subject is, no matter how exciting the subject is, but when the teacher is not really effective, not really good in delivering the lessons, boring, right? But it really affects your performance, and definitely it will affect your interest in science. Can you just imagine, for example, your teacher will go inside your classroom and then post the MP3 or the Manila paper folded into three, and then you're just going to, you know, copy on your notebook, and after that, the teacher will sign, and then you can go, right? So it's the product of an ill education, which happened before, and I'm hoping that it will not already happen during your, if you will become teachers, so do not do that because that's not really effective. Okay, and interactions, I forgot. Learning interactions should be provided inside the classroom. Now, the approach for the 21st century teaching is what we call interactive teaching. So, gone are the days where the teachers at the center stage. We always say that, right? So students have already a lot of opportunities, a lot of time to present and to share knowledge and to construct knowledge with other students, right? So you have to provide opportunities so they can foster their knowledge through interaction, through collaboration with other students. Remember, they have a lot of sources already. I mean, you as a teacher is not the only one who's the source of knowledge. We have technology. Computers full of information which they can acquire. So let them give opportunities so they can explore. They can share also what they've learned and what they know. So when we talk about that, we are actually referring to teaching strategies already, which you will also be learning in this course. Okay? Science is a rapid changing knowledge base and expanding relevance to society. That's true. Science is constantly changing and it's rapidly changing. What does it mean and what does it imply to us teachers? That science teachers must continuously update their knowledge when it comes to science, right? Or else you will become obsolete. Okay? What you might be teaching obsolete knowledge already, so you have to attend seminars, read books, and so on and so forth. So you have to update your knowledge. You attend also your graduate school and so on and so forth. Okay, and science teachers must have the chance to conduct research. Well, I have already mentioned that one. Okay, so when can you say that a science teacher is effective? So let's try to connect your answer here. Okay? Do your answers can be found in the presentation? Let's try to see. First, a teacher is effective when he or she develops student skills in searching for answers to questions about materials and phenomena in the environment. Okay, take note of this. Skills in searching for answers to the questions about materials and phenomena in the environment. So that only means that if you're a teacher, a science teacher, do not be bookish and Do not let your students just absorb knowledge. Okay, so it only implies the approach which is inquiry. Right, inquiry approach is widely used in educational settings or in education in the Philippines. And those who empower their students to grow to become informed decision makers in society. So you must have also the power or the knowledge, the skills to empower your students. Next, we have the teacher can evaluate their own practice and use these insights to develop challenging learner-centered experiences. Okay, so you always have to assess yourself. You always have to evaluate yourself. Are you effective enough? How are you going to assess yourself? Well, we have teacher evaluation. You can reflect on the results, or you can also have, well, other teachers do this. Okay, other teachers do this. You can actually place boxes inside your room. That's a suggestion box. Okay, so the students can freely write whatever they liked about you, whatever they'd like you to adopt when it comes to teaching, whatever they'd like, or however, how the lesson will be taught inside your classroom, how they will be treated, about classroom rules and regulations. They can always suggest. So that's a suggestion box. But make sure that your students will not write their name so that it will not be subjective. Okay. So and then you try to reflect on that. So you continuously evaluate yourself, your practice in teaching. Okay. Indeed, effective science teachers are reflective. Okay, you reflect, you reflect on the changes that are happening. You reflect on the students' progress. You reflect on the classroom rules and regulation. You reflect on your classroom management. You reflect on the results of tests, etc., etc. So you are always, and you should always be reflective. Okay? Bakit kaya yung mga estudyante ko hindi sila nakikinig? Bakit kaya yung mga estudyante ko they're not enthusiastic in the lesson? Bakit kaya maraming late? Bakit kaya maraming absent? So you have to reflect yourself kasi hindi lang po yan kasalanan ng estudyante. Remember, learning is a shared experience between a teacher and a student. Baka kasi hindi sila pumapasok, baka kasi parati sila late. It's because boring ka naman magturo, right? Sad to say. So you have to reflect yourself. Baka kailangan mo mag-adapt ng mga innovative strategies in teaching, right? Okay. Collaborative, okay? You need to work to whom? You need to work to the parents of the students. Definitely number one, to your students, okay? You have to be open to them. You have to be transparent to them. You also work with your colleagues. You can exchange strategies. You can, collaborate with them with regards to teaching strategies, assessment tasks, etc., etc. If you're new, for example, as a teacher, you can ask the help, tap the help of those who are tenured teachers. Kung bago mo lang ituro yung subject, maybe this is your first time to teach the subject, then probably you can ask those students who are already teaching the subject for how many years. You work with parents as well. You work with administrators. You work with the society. Okay, you collaborate with them. So as a teacher, a science teacher, you should be collaborative and lifelong learners. Once a teacher, it's also a cliche in education that once a teacher, forever a student. So you have to be, as a science teacher, you have to be lifelong learners. Remember, science is rapidly changing. So you continuously update yourself. You continuously learn. And that's what makes you a lifelong learner. Okay? Understood? Well, if you have questions about my discussion, you can always ask me. You can always drop a question in our Google Classroom or simply PM me so I can make you understand or explain further the discussion. Okay, so what are the challenges in science education in the Philippines? So first problem is the shortage of qualified science teachers. Based on observation and further readings, okay, this is happening most especially in public school. Okay? So those who are teachers in public school, may mga teachers na nagtuturo ng science although it is not their specialization. So may kakilala ko science, English major. When he started teaching in public school, he was appointed as a science teacher. And then math to science or Filipino to science, it happens in public school. So the quality of instruction might be affected. No, I'm not minding those teachers because of course you can learn that through further readings. Pero iba din naman talaga kapag specialization mo yung science. Alright? Another is because in the previous curriculum, especially in BE Ed, right? Walang specialization ng science. I mean, if there are schools, only few schools offer specialization in science in elementary because most likely it's general, right? Kaya BE Ed, Bachelor of Elementary Education, you're generalist, okay? You're a master of all the subjects in elementary. So wala siyang specialization. So sometimes experts say that it's also one of the reasons why the quality of teachers are lacking actually. Okay, so lack of quality textbooks in the Philippines. I think quality and quantity of textbooks. In some schools, the ratio of book is 1:2 or 1:3. I even experienced 1:5. And quality textbooks in science because there are a lot of good books in science, but the author is actually foreign. So it's effective, but you also have to consider contextualization. Dapat kasi contextualize yan, right? I mean, the concepts in there, the examples and so on and so forth must be reflected in the lives of the students, right? Although it's still effective kasi science naman, it's universal naman, right? But still, there's the quality textbooks. There's a lack of quality textbooks in the science education in the Philippines. Next is inadequate equipment. Well, this is science, so expect that every school must have a laboratory. Even in elementary education, there must be in laboratories so that students will experience experimenting, and then so on and so forth, maghawak at gumamit ng mga tools, equipment in science, and so on and so forth. So yun yung isang problem din, kulang sa equipment. So hindi naman pwedeng lahat is nasa textbook lang, right? Memorize ko na lahat ng parts ng microscope. Okay? Definition, memorize ko na lahat. Okay? Memorize ko yung procedure kung paano gamitin. But in actual, kapag hindi pa ako nakakita, hindi pa ako nakagamit ng ganyan, well, there will be a hesitation. Kaya ko ba talaga? Remember the theory of John Dewey? Learning by doing, right? That's the best way of learning, is to do it, is to experience it. Okay? That's a problem. Inadequate equipment. Large classes, okay? Ideal probably is 20 pupils inside the classroom. If you have large classes like 40, 50, 60, right, it's very hard to really monitor all of your students. It's very hard to facilitate all of your students. Imagine that number of students that you have. Napakahirap. So it affects their learning as well. Lack of support from administrators. So sometimes there probably may mga projects na hindi na naaprubahan ng administrators or programs about science or proposals. Well, marami kasing factors yan. Number one is budget, right? Probably lack of budget then, and so on and so forth. And other challenges as well. There are even more challenges, in science education, specifically in the Philippines. Okay, so that's now down to the last subtopic, which is the qualities of effective science teachers. So generally, it's divided into three. You have the professional knowledge, professional practice, and professional attributes. So what is professional knowledge? Professional knowledge includes knowledge of science content. What is science content, right? Like what I said, you have to be the master. You really have to to master the science content. Kahit sa lahat ng pasikot-sikot ng branches of science, you have to know. Kasi you're the teacher eh. Whatever comes out from your mouth will be, will be perceived as true by all of your pupils. Okay? Kailangan master mo yan. Knowledge of pedagogical content. Okay? It deals with, it's kind of similar to science content, pedagogical content. Knowledge of general pedagogy, it deals on classroom management. So, ito na, master mo na yung lessons mo, master mo na yung science, kahit anumang tanong yan, alam mo na. Now, the next knowledge that you have, you must possess the pedagogical knowledge. So, you have to know how to teach it. Okay? Marami pong magagaling sa kanilang mga specialization, pero sometimes nagkakaproblema sila kung paano nila ito ituturo. Okay? So, what does it mean? Pedagogical, knowledge of general pedagogy, knowledge of your learners. Okay? You have to have the knowledge with the diversity, learning styles, individual differences of your pupils, classroom management, right? Teaching strategies, assessment procedures, or assessment tasks that you can give to them, right? Instructional materials, right? So, lahat ng yon will are knowledge of general pedagogy. How do you teach the content in science, and knowledge of the science curriculum. This curriculum in science will also be taught in this subject. So you have to know what are the objectives of the curriculum, what are the strategies that must be done, things that must be done in order for the objectives of the curriculum to be achieved. So that's the professional knowledge. Your knowledge in science, knowledge on how to teach it, and then knowledge of science curriculum. Okay? Next is professional practice. This category outlines that teachers are expected to achieve learning outcomes, the objective of science education. So again, it's connected to your professional knowledge. Okay? It also, kasi nandito, the objectives of science education, which can be found, of course, in science curriculum. It also expects teachers to work with the learners, colleagues, parents, and other community members to achieve these objective. Okay, so you do not only work, you do not only collaborate with your students, but you also collaborate with your colleagues, with parents of the students. Kaya nga mayroong PTA meeting, right? At pag nagtawag kayo ng PTA meeting, hindi lang naman ang pinag-uusapan doon yung mga babayaran, yung mga projects ng mga estudyante, may pa-electric fan, may pa-aircon, right? But you give feedback on the performance of the children, okay? So, hindi lang yun mag-i-elect ng officers, and then wala na, right? Okay. And then you collaborate also with the community members, okay? There are certain projects wherein we need the help of the community, or the beneficiaries are the community members, because we're not, existing alone. We are always connected with our community, and we should also serve our purpose. as an educational institution to the society where we belong in. And then the last one is professional attributes. Okay, professional attributes are those characteristics that enable teachers to embrace change, to develop and improve teaching practice, as well as sustain professional growth. So you have to be adaptive to changes. Sa education, napakaraming changes. Changes in curriculum, approaches, every now and then may bago, right? So you have to be adaptive with the changes. Kailangan mong sumabay sa changes, or else, again, like what I said, will become obsolete, or your knowledge will become obsolete. And that, if that happens, you'll not become an effective teacher. Professional attributes include modeling scientific inquiry skills. So you do not only teach scientific inquiry skills, but you also model to your students how to become one, right? And scientific attitudes. These attributes include being reflective, committed in improvement, and becoming active members of their professional community. So those are the three attributes or qualities of effective teachers. So we studied already the challenges as well as the qualities of effective teachers. There are challenges, there are a lot of challenges that may come, but again, you have to possess these qualities so that you can make solutions, or you can adapt with these changes, or make solutions for whatever problem that may come in educational system. Okay, so I hope that you also have to reflect to yourself, right? Knowing these attributes, ano kaya yung gagawin ko in order to achieve these competencies? What should I do when it comes to my study habits para masatisfy ko yung qualities of becoming an effective science teacher? Try to reflect to yourself. Okay, so as I've mentioned a while ago, I'll be showing you there the stand of science education in the Philippines. So this is the figure is based on 2018 PISA result, or the Program for International Student Assessment results. So the color blue is reading comprehension, the yellow is math, and I'm colorblind. Is it red or pink? Yeah, this one. That's science. Okay, and it only shows that in reading comprehension, Philippines is the lowest. Science, Philippines is the second lowest, and the third one, math, science, Philippines is the second lowest still. Okay, so we are one among the lowest when it comes to science, mathematics, and reading comprehension. But I want you to focus only on science. Okay, now those who took the exam ay yung mga nasa grade 9, if I'm mistaken, or 15 years old students, if I'm mistaken, from around Philippines, and this is the result. So what does it tell us? Again, science teachers must be reflective. So you have to reflect on this. What could have been the reason? I want you to search. This is your activity 1.3. Okay, again, activity 1.3. I'll be giving the instruction here. Now I want you to search what experts say about this, especially the reasons why Philippines ranked the lowest. So you try to read articles, researches that show why the Philippines ranked the lowest or second lowest when it comes to science. And out of that, what are the actions of the government? Okay, especially the education sector. What is now the action of the Department of Education to increase, para naman tumaas yung level of science education in the Philippines? Ano yung mga ginagawa nila at ano na yung mga plano nila? Okay, so again, you have to reflect. Your task is you have to search for reasons why the Philippines ranked the lowest in science based on 2018 PISA result. And out of that, what are now the actions of the Department of Education to increase our stand in science education. Okay? So, para tumaas siya, ano yung ginagawa ng ating government? Right? So, um, I'll be um, um, I'll be preparing a Google form for that. I'll just inform you. It's activity 1.3. You just attach it. Okay, you have to type it in code that's encoded. But if you do not have access to, I mean, you don't have laptop, pwede nyo siyang isulat and then picturean na lang. Okay, gagawa ko ng Google form and then you just attach your output there. Okay, but if you have we have I mean things that you didn't understand about my lesson, you can always ask me, you can always PM me, you can always drop a question in our Google Classroom. Okay, so that's it for today's lecture. I hope you understand our lesson. And agyaman na kada kayo amin.